You've had some amazing success and some lows and rugs getting pulled out from under you, and I just don't know how you've been able to pivot. But I do want to ask you about some of those times that have been harder.
Sure. Yeah.
Where did you even know where to go other than you've stayed in the game? It seems to be like,
Yeah.
what else could you do?
Well, the first time it happened in 2016, that was horrible because I had achieved great success. So all of a sudden, that's gone. And so you don't really think about what you're going to do next. You're just wallowing in your own misery. Mm-hmm. And that's a bad place to be. So forgetting completely that I have all of the tools at my disposal to do whatever I want. Now, I know that now, but at the time, it was very difficult, so that wrecked me. Mm-hmm. So that was bad. And then when I started the next radio job, which was only like 60 days after the first radio job ended, within a day or two, I realized that I don't have the tools necessary. I don't have the fire. I'm not going to have the firepower to be able to do what I want to do.
What do you mean by firepower? What is lacking?
Well, I was going up against a 900-pound gorilla, my old show.
Yeah.
So even with all the, thoughts that I could pull it off on my own, I still was going from sidekick role to suddenly being lead guy.
Yeah.
Which was a lot more challenging than I thought it would be. And I don't have the personnel.
Yeah.
So there's those horses aren't there. I don't have. I'm starting from scratch, and those are the big ones.
Yeah.
And then there's there's a number of other resources that the company didn't have at disposal that the people that I'm going against did have. So that proved right away. I didn't want to listen to that, but now that I'm out of that, I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what had happened.
Sure.
I didn't want to believe that we were going to struggle, and nobody listened. So then when that dried up, now I'm going from all right, but there was months prior to that drying up that I started to prepare for the podcast. Mm. In October of 19, I had the site built, I had the T-shirts printed, I had the equipment, I had the Patreon built, which is the separate podcast, and that was the goal, and that was, I'm going to need money. Well, I'll have money right away, and that money will get me through until I can get some sponsors. Mm-hmm. So it was all planned. I got fired, 2 days later, podcast.
Yeah.
Got done with the podcast, looked at my inbox, all these people signed up for Patreon, bought me a month.
Yeah.
All right, and then, then the audience started to, I didn't expect this. They rallied around and built me the studio.
Yeah.
So the one thing I could control was what I was saying, what I was talking about, and even and I had established a little bit more legs and chops because I was doing it on BBL.
Yeah.
So it was a little easier. But then there's another big learning curve that had to take place with now you're all alone. You, your thoughts, microphone, camera, that's it. What are you going to do? Mm-hmm. And that's still a process. It's gotten easier and easier, but I've felt it, and I know I don't dare listen back to the old ones because that was very painful. It was just bad. But the audience stuck with me, and they've seen the progression.
The Full Exposure Podcast is brought to you by Metro Health, University of Michigan Health, and Dr. Peter Hahn, in appreciation of the creative and artistic visionaries who enrich our lives through cultural connections.